its pilots fighting to the death to take control. At 8:38 a.m. on March the 10th, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 takes off from Addis, Ababa. It's considered one of the world's safest airlines. But shortly after takeoff, Ethiopian Flight 302 is suddenly out of control. A critical sensor sending information to the plane's new flight control system called MCAS has malfunctioned. MCAS thinks the aircraft is in a stall and literally takes over the controls, pitching the plane into a steep dive. It's almost identical to what happened to Lion Air Flight 610 just 5 months earlier in Indonesia. But Boeing had since assured pilots further disasters were avoidable, as long as they followed the safety checklist.
What Boeing described to us was that simply you go to a known checklist, but what they failed to recognize is that this was a complex, intense emergency because the airplane's telling you you're about to stall. So that's happening right after takeoff, within meters of the Earth.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah, that's not good.
In this flight simulator, British 737 pilot Chris Brady again replicates what's happening in the cockpit.
Each time you notice we're getting lower.
The Ethiopian pilots would have been trying to follow Boeing's checklist. But what they didn't know was that the MCAS system will repeatedly turn on and off. It means they have only 5 seconds of control before MCAS overrides the plane, forcing it to nosedive.
If you were to time how long it would take me to find runaway stabiliser on this list and go to it in the book, page 9.9.
As you're nosediving. And it's barely enough time for the pilots to consult the Boeing checklist, which can only be found in a paper manual.
OK, so that's taken me, what, about 2 or 3 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
So I've only now got 2 more seconds, potentially, before MCAS comes alive and starts trimming me down.
For me, this is all outrageous on so many levels.
It is. These are unintended consequences of an ill-thought-out add-on that was necessary.
There would have been calamitous noise on the flight deck. The aircraft was going faster and faster and faster, so there was a clacker going to tell the crew that they were overspeeding. And it gives you an indication of how overloaded those pilots were. Nothing, even though they tried the checklist, it wasn't working for them.
So this is all happening in seconds. It is a sledgehammer to the head, followed by ball-peen hammers to the forehead, and then comes the chainsaw. What we now know as MCAS. And that chainsaw rips through that cockpit, and it's relentless.
The pilots were literally in a tug-of-war with their own aircraft.
Yes.
And the aircraft was just powering at a 40-degree nose-down attitude, which would have been terrifying.
6 minutes. They must have realised, oh my God.
Yeah, it is horrifying. Yeah, it's unimaginable what the flight must have been like.
What would the passengers have felt in both those flights? Would they have known pretty quickly that things are not good?
It's very sad. It's been terrifying.
Because of those dives. For them, they must know quickly that something's not right.
I'm certain of it.
The crash site strewn with personal effects, eyewitnesses gave their version of the final seconds. It went straight into the ground with its nose. It then exploded.